Hi folks, Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Coming here with another blog post that I want to share with you, a little bit of motivation, inspiration. Keep in mind that being a successful entrepreneur or a business person, one of the most important things you can take is make sure your head's in the right place, heart's in the right place, and that you've got a clear thought process to what you can use to innovate and make your business better, a blog better, whatever you want to call it. So this is all integral to social media and everything that I discuss with you on the ChrisVossShow.com. There's over 200 posts now, by the way, so you may want to check out some of the other interesting things that I've said. This post is entitled, "What's Your Excuse to Not Being Successful?" In life, the most important thing is to do the best you can do. I had a friend recently who was complaining about how he's stuck in a situation, the competition is kind of limited by some of the authority that oversees him, and et cetera, et cetera. And I explained to him, I says, the most important thing you can do, irregardless of your situation, is to do the best you can. Now, whether that's recognized, whether or not you receive an award, or whether or not anyone cares or notices, that's not important. But doing the best that you can in your own mind, and knowing that you gave the best, knowing that you sweated the best and worked the hardest and gave everything you possibly could, that you gave your best, maybe push yourself to the next level of really what it takes to become a more improved, better person, maybe the things you learned along the line at fighting to be the best. That's the most important thing. It's not the awards, it's not the recognition. The most important thing is that you recognize it, that you recognize that you pushed the envelope, that you did the best you could, and that's the best pat on the back you can give yourself. So never beat yourself up if people don't recognize that you're not the best. But one thing I want to share with you is life is about disappointments and setbacks. So let's talk about some stories that I want to share with you here, and please bear with me because I think you'll like some of the stuff we have. Now, the first story came to me from Billy Cox, who's a great international motivational speaker, BillyCoxInternational.com. He shared a blog post with me about Lance Armstrong, and this is a pretty interesting story. Basically, Lance Armstrong overcame incredible odds to become a 7-time Tour de Force champion, and if you know, he's trying to do it again, of course. Now, back in 1996, he was diagnosed with advanced testicular cancer, spread to his lungs and his brain. Now, for most people, that's pretty much game over situation. That's call it in and go sit in the corner and just wait for the end to come. But instead, he fought back. And even at 5 months after his diagnosis, he was planning on his return to cycling. But basically, once he was victorious over cancer, he had a goal to get back into cycling. And I think that's one of the things that really helped him here. Now, it was a hard road. I mean, he's probably had to work harder than anybody else. But 1 year later, after beating cancer, he won the Tour de France. And he's gone on to win it subsequently times thereafter. Now, in his book, Every Second Counts, by Lance Armstrong, he gives the answer. I often said that cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. The fact is that I wouldn't have won even a single Tour de France without the lesson of illness. Isn't that interesting? Someone who can come from such a despondent position, such a position of facing death's door, to a point of winning 7 Tour de France. That's pretty amazing. So there's such a great story. There's a couple other things that inspire me to actually do this original post, and it's a video that you'll see. It's a GIF little video on the website where it shows a boy in crutches who's a cripple, and he has learned to skateboard, and he's learned to do some of the tricks with skateboarding with the aid of his crutches. But once again, where most people would go, well, you're on crutches, skateboarding probably isn't for you, he's found a way to make it work. There's some incredible things that are taking place in today's technology. These new runner things that you'll see on the website with the pictures where amputees can now run. I'm kind of ashamed. Some of them are in a lot better shape than I am. I better go running because I've got 2 good legs. I better kick myself in the butt more when I go to the gym and run a few more miles because I don't have an excuse. Technically, they should have an excuse. I don't have an excuse anymore when I look at what they're going through. I put up some of the wheelchair things where you can see these guys that are competing in wheelchairs. These guys aren't sitting back with their ailments, with their illnesses, with their very physical limited ability, or what some of us would think is physical limited ability, and they're probably excelling at a level that's far advanced than maybe some of the rest of us are doing while we're sitting around our couch eating potatoes. Me possibly being one of them. But there's another thing I want to share that's my final inspiring story, and this is pretty amazing. And I can thank Billy Cox for turning me on to this. Clay Dyer, and I'm going to put a link up on my website, and I'm going to put a post and some pictures of him. Clay Dyer was born at 5, since he was a child, without 2 limbs and an arm, and he has a shortened arm stub on his, I believe, his right hand. He's an award-winning bass fisherman. He drives his own boat, which is crazy. Or I think it's crazy. And guess what Clay's motto is? Clay's motto is, if I can, you can. What an amazing story. And I hope you go and read the blog post link that I'm going to make on here for you. But he's an award-winning bass fisherman. He's been, since 5 years old, he's been fishing. This is a guy with no hands. Did I mention that? He began tournament fishing at age 15. He's been a full-time professional bass fisherman since 1995. Clay is highly competitive, fished in more than 200 bass tournaments and 125. The man has no legs. He has no left arm. He has half of a right arm. And he's winning bass fishing tournaments. So, I find these super inspiring. In fact, I think I'm going to print out Clay Dyer's picture and put on my wall so I can remind myself that, gee, what's your excuse, Chris Voss? Why can't you be maybe more successful than you already are? Or why can't you push to the next level? And you know what? I'm going to work a whole lot harder because Clay Dyer just became probably one of my heroes. So I hope that motivates you. I hope that inspires you. Maybe you want to ask yourself, what's my excuse for not being more successful? And maybe, I can take better advantage of what my physical abilities are, considering I'm not limited by people that sometimes are doing a whole lot more with their abilities that are limited. So I hope that inspires you in some way, fashion, or form. Thanks for coming by the chrisvossshow.com. What's your excuse? Make it happen. Make your dreams come true. And go out and do it. Don't wait for it to happen. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.